Clack, clack, clack. Clack, clack, clack. I can't play action games. I'm not for them, they're not for me. I don't remember how to play this game at all. Oh, I don't have a gun. Oh my gosh, he's still alive. Oh wait, no, is he dead? What the crap just happened? Oh my gosh!
Mission in Section F.
What the crap? Oh my gosh! Oh jeez! I didn't know that was gonna bother you so much. It's because I killed your boyfriend, huh? That feels good. That is fun. I'm lacking some serious brain functionality.
christiangeekcentral.com.
Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. E3 2018 is now upon us, and we're kicking it off with the EA press conference, which I was not especially looking forward to. I'm kind of glad it's the first one, because I think I would just lose energy and interest and might have been tempted to skip out on it if it had been much later. But anyway. Yeah, so I'm basically going to be reacting to the EA press conference based on my own gaming preferences with some additional reactions from a biblical perspective. So I probably won't represent a number of different gaming preferences out there. I'm just going to share my own reactions. I had some very jaded predictions for EA's press event, along with a short wish list. Let me just go over that briefly. My predictions. Man, 2 out of 3 did not come true. First, I said they will feature more sports and cars and sports cars. I kind of broke up my wish list. If you watched my video where I shared my wish list and jaded predictions, I kind of broke them up a little bit more exacting into numbers. So they will feature more sports and cars and sports cars. No, that was not completely accurate. They did feature more sports, but not more cars and not more sports cars. Number 2, I said that they would say things not worth believing while wearing tailored suits. Well, I do think they said things not worth believing, but they weren't wearing tailored suits. I went back and watched the whole thing again. There wasn't a single tailored suit on that stage. So, interesting. I'll comment on that in a little bit. And then my third prediction, the upcoming BioWare game Anthem will make it even more clear that the studio is done making single-player RPGs in favor of MMO, shooty, blasty, jumpy games. And I believe that prediction did come true for me. I'll talk about that more and why that is later on. My 2 wishes, neither of which were granted, were first that they would do something during the conference in their actions, not just in their words, but they would do something that would show they're moving toward consumer-friendly practices, something that could be tested and verified by games media people and commentators and stuff over the course of the weekend, so that by the end the verdict would be out all over the place on the internet. Hey, yes, EA has done something right now that's consumer-friendly. They've changed their monetization scheme for, their currently 3 top games out there, or whatever. They didn't do that. I didn't think they would, but would have been nice. And the second wish that didn't come true is for them to somehow make me believe that they still care about true blue single-player RPG experiences for longtime single-player RPG fans. That definitely did not come true. I'll talk about why when I get to my thoughts on Anthem. They did make some changes that had the appearance of being more personal and down-to-earth or quote-unquote authentic or whatever. They had Andrea Renee do the hosting on the stage, and I've begun to follow some of her work on places like What's Good Games and Kind of Funny Games, and I find her endearing and personable, and so I see totally why they would want her to be kind of the glue that held the event together. There were no suits. They had people even wearing flannel and sweaters and stuff like that. There was an acknowledgement that Star Wars Battlefront 2, the launch of that game was disappointing and that they needed to make some major changes. They continued to have a spotlight on indie games. They showed their continual support and involvement with charities. There were 2 instances of emphasizing that a game will have no loot boxes or purchasable gameplay advantages. So they were doing these things that I think maybe we're intended to, help them come across as more personable and down to earth. The problem is none of these things provided me with a right now demonstration through deeds that they are actually moving toward consumer friendly practices as opposed to just saying they are. I mean, sure, loot boxes may be gone. We can say no more loot boxes, no more loot boxes. Okay, well, great, fine. But what will the monetization model be? Who knows what the next thing will be? Loot boxes as a buzzword is just like that's got crap all over it. Nobody's going to want to touch that, and so people have all over the place have been backing off of that. But come on, they're going to have some kind of monetization scheme, and so I want to know what are the specifics of that, and is their new scheme, their new model, still going to come across as manipulative or trying to basically just be sneaky in some way? I want to know what the new model is. That's what's really going to help me see that there's a positive change toward consumer-friendly practices. In general, let me say this. In general, the changes toward a more personal and grounded presentation for this show felt cosmetic to me, felt superficial. I think that EA wants to have a better relationship with their players, but I don't know that desire goes beyond a desire to have their players spend money, on them, because of course, if they have a bad relationship with their players, then of course players aren't going to spend money on their games and stuff. So I just, I don't know exactly what it would take to really feel like they're really letting it all hang out and just being authentic. Probably just doing something different than a stage presentation. I'm not sure. Anyway, so many things about this event still felt very scripted and controlled and guarded to me, very selective in the information that was being put out there. I saw some cool looking games, but I didn't see or hear anything that makes me the least bit willing to keep what EA is doing on my radar. Maybe in the coming year there'll be some deeds, some actions actually from them that start building credit toward trust in my mind. But right now I'm so hands off and beyond uninterested in what they say or do for now. As for Anthem, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. That was the game of the ones I knew they were going to be talking about that had at least some potential to surprise me and in ways that would appeal to me. I really only wanted to know what it would be like for someone like me who avoids multiplayer to play Anthem. Unsurprisingly, unfortunately, the single-player potential for Anthem seems barely there. They said that the base you go back to between missions is where the single-player story happens, and the quests are all intended basically to be multiplayer. Going solo is possible, but they made it clear that it's also going to be harder, and that they want people who normally don't play multiplayer games to at least give it a try. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's sad. As far as my gaming preferences go, I'm thinking, why waste time creating a single-player story for me to experience at the base when I'm still forced to go and look for other people to play with if I don't want to have a more difficult experience? I'm just not, for multiple reasons that I won't get into, I'm just not interested in multiplayer games, especially not multiplayer games online. BioWare once made some of my favorite RPGs, and I wanted to see hope today that they will still give at least equal priority to the single-player experience in the future. I get that multiplayer is big, and that's where a lot of the money is going to be, so I get that, it's unrealistic to maybe expect that single-player will be given preferential treatment with a company as big as EA, but I wanted them at least to have something closer to equality in their focus. But sadly for me, that does not seem to be the case at all. And the guy in charge at BioWare describes Anthem as, quote, the evolution of a BioWare game, unquote. And with the Future of the Dragon Age series also being previously described in what sounds like shared world terms, this seemed to just kind of, boom, put the nail in the coffin for any hopes of a return to equal consideration of the single-player experience at BioWare. All right, I also want to touch on something interesting that I noticed during the sports section. And I think this kind of popped out to me a little bit more because it's in a game genre that I'm not interested in, so I was just paying attention to different things and stuff than I would normally pay attention to. So I don't want this to sound like what I'm about to talk about, that I'm just picking on EA. I think a lot of companies, including developers that I love, do some of the same things in their marketing. But I just want to point this out because I noticed it here, and I probably won't notice it when it occurs as often in other developers over the course of E3 this year. But I raised my eyebrows yet again at the language used during the sports game section of EA's presentation. Phrases like "show the world you're a champion," and also encouragement to pursue glory for yourself. And a focus with the camera and with the timing of the presentation on this coveted trophy that just couldn't help but bring the word worship to my mind. There is a way, I believe, to enjoy victory that has nothing to do with what other people think of you, and everything to do with the pure joy of the challenge that you're experiencing and engaging with, and exploring the potential that God has given you to accomplish certain things. Chasing victory to gain recognition is a fruitless quest, even if you make it all the way to the top. The author of Ecclesiastes had wisdom, he had wealth, fame, power, and all of that was undeniable to the world around him. And yet he found it all to be empty. Christian speaker and apologist Ravi Zacharias has told a number of stories about famous athletes and actors that his work has given him the opportunity to share private moments with, and he doesn't reveal who these people are, but he tells enough about their career that it makes it clear, oh my gosh, these guys are huge athletes and huge movie stars, who have told him privately that their achievements left them empty and even regretful for how they spent their time in life. And yet these games, like these sports games, are trying to simulate what it would be like to be the best of the best in the athletic world, So that's just like, oh man, that's kind of sad and ironic to me. EA knows that appealing to our natural tendency to pursue our own glory will make their games more attractive, and so they do that. They, in their marketing, talk about show the world who you are and how great you are, and you're pursuing glory and stuff like that. I don't think they do this menacingly. I want to be really clear about that. I would imagine that the ones making these decisions about marketing, or even how the game is constructed to make that kind of the goal of the game, I would imagine the folks making those decisions aren't aware themselves of the vanity in what they promote in their marketing or in their game design. But as believers, it's important that we correct that tendency in ourselves, that we guard against it. I so often fail into measuring my success or self-worth based on what other people think about me. But my identity and significance have nothing to do with that, and everything to do with God's just baffling, mystifying love, patience, and forgiveness, just tirelessly given to me. Anyway, those are all my thoughts for now. Stay tuned. I'm going to be checking out all the other conferences, Bethesda, Microsoft. Oh, I'm really looking forward to Bethesda. Oh, man, we'll see what happens. But stick around, and I'll share more thoughts in a little while. Bye-bye.
Let's begin.
Burn, ungodly filth!
What do you want? To make you ours or to make you despair?
Spirit Blade Productions presents...
Do you have any idea how much I will make you suffer? The horrific agony that I will inflict.
Spirit Blade, Dark Ritual.
Hell will be a refuge for you when I'm finished.
For more information, visit spiritblade.com.